Hi everyone, it's Sam Obi here from Paradigm Fitness and Accomplished Kettlebells. This is again our next newsletter, our weekly newsletter. And we're going to expand on what we talked about last week with multi-plane and movement. Just recapping that, we know that our body moves through three planes. We move forwards and backwards, we move side to side, and we rotate. Now they're divided into what we call three planes of motion. Forwards and backwards we call sagittal plane. Side to side we call frontal plane. And rotations we call transverse plane. And that can be done forwards or backwards, side or the other side, or rotating out or rotating in across the body. So that's what we talked about last week. If you didn't see the video was on our Facebook page, Paradigm Fitness UK. Have a little scroll down, you should see there that the video called Training Through Three Planes of Motion, the Why and the How. Today, I want to expand on that video and talk to you about actually implementing it into a workout rather than just what is three planes and why we use it. So it's a bit more workout based today. We're going to give you some demonstrations at the end. Three planes of motion. Obviously, every exercise can be done through three planes of motion. Now, what we do within our workouts and for a lot of our exercise regimes, I know I do it a lot of the time. I know Danny Rowland does it a lot of the time with his clients as well, is we look at bringing in all three planes of motion into one exercise. So the majority of our exercise choices that we sort of prescribe to our clients are done through obviously all three planes of motion, but we do it in a way, we call it a matrix. Now a movement matrix is where you do your base movement. So for example, let's go easy, let's say a lunge, and you'll do a forwards lunge followed immediately by a side lunge followed immediately by a rotational lunge. So we hit the sagittal plane followed by the frontal plane followed by the transverse plane. This is great because obviously we talked to you before about your body moves or your bones move and your muscles react to that motion rather than your muscles reacting or contracting to create a motion. So we want to target all the muscles in the hips, all the muscles around the legs and so on. The best way for us to do that quickly and effectively is through this movement matrix. So as I said, for our example of a lunge, we'd go through a forwards lunge, stepping out and then back to the middle. We then go straight into a side lunge where we step out to the side and back into the middle. And then we'll go into a rotational lunge. So it's sort of out to the side, but then we're rotating across our hips as well, and then finishing back into the middle. And that's what we'd call that one round, or one repetition. You can then go through as many repetitions as you like for whatever you're working towards and what energy system you're wanting to hit. So we're going to go through a bit of a workout in a second. We'll put it up on the screen. You can follow it if you want to. Really easy to do. We're going to do it with a medicine ball today, just to add a little bit more load into the movement itself. But you don't need to have a modality or a tool. You can do it with just your body weight. We're going to go through 12 repetitions on each side because it is important to obviously do both legs. We're going to go through our lunge. We're then going to go through a squat matrix, and then we're going to finish off with a single leg balance matrix. So we're going to do two sort of more strength endurance exercises, and then we're going to finish off with a more stability exercise at the end, just to really target the glutes and get those firing up because we want to get a bit more stabilization around my hip. So have a little look, give them a go. It can be quite a good workout, especially when you start playing around with and tweaking the exercises, and we'll talk a bit more about tweaking in a few weeks. But things like increasing the range of movement through the exercise or increasing the speed of the exercise, increasing the load of the exercise, they're great ways to really increase the intensity of the workout that you're doing. We're going to keep it quite simple today, but we will talk about tweaking in a few weeks' time. So have a little look, go through the workout. You should start to feel your glutes firing, your adductors, the inside of your thigh firing, lots of things going on. So have a play around, go through the workout with us, and we'll see you next week for our next video. Okay, so we're going to start off looking at the lunge matrix. Now, lunge is basically where you transfer your weight from onto the outside leg and then return back to the middle. You can see here I'm going through my forwards, then to my side, and then to my rotational lunge. And I'm just finishing nicely back into the middle to start off with. But as you can see here, I've just increased the pace a little bit. I'm trying not to recover back to the middle. And I'm sort of more of a pulsing motion. So start off nice and slow on the left side, returning back to the middle, and then going into my next lunge. I do it for one more repetition just to give you an idea. And then what I can do to really start increasing the intensity of the exercise, then start missing out the middle and going straight out into my next lunge. And this is great for just getting the heart rate up a little bit higher and really pulsing the movement. We're now going to have a look at the squat matrix. So with the squat, it's not quite a lunge. We're keeping our centre of gravity quite central, as you can see here, into my rotation. So just a normal squat, then out to like a side squat, and then rotation around. I'm just performing these movements by just moving my leg out to the side or through the rotation, and that creates the movement that I'm looking for. We'll get that muscular reaction. As you can see, I've sped the movement up again. This is a lot more pulse based. So to start off with, I'll just give you an idea just by stepping out and stepping back through. You can see it's slightly different to the lunge. One more repetition through that, and then I'll start speeding it up just like so. I'm really getting more of a pulsing motion. It's a lot more of a constant move now. It's constant work, really just to get my heart rate nice and high. And the last one I'm going to go through is the single leg reach matrix, which is a lot more for stabilization around the hip. So on one leg I'm just reaching forward, reaching out to the side, and reaching out with a rotate as well. Here I've got a bit of a toe touch, but if you want to challenge yourself, you can try not to touch the floor, see how far you can reach without touching, see how far you can reach with a touch. Just challenge your stabilization through this whole movement. There's the side, there's the frontal plane and the transverse plane in there. I think I'll go through one more repetition and we'll go on to the other side. Okay, so exactly the same thing. You can see that I'm not quite as confident on my standing on my right leg. Balance isn't quite as good as on my right side. I've probably not got quite as much range on my right side. I'm a bit more off balance than this side. So for myself, I probably need to work on this a little bit more. Lost my balance there a little bit. Yeah, so you sort of get the idea. We've got one exercise through the 3 planes of motion all the way through there. Got a little toe touch as well.